Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. DE-3 Desktop Engraver by DG Shape. Precise, productive, and profitable. And that's a true statement. So we're going to go ahead and get through that, but for now I want to kind of give you a few takeaways and kind of go over what we will be going over today. We're going to get to know the DE-3 Desktop Engraver, kind of an overview of it. I want to talk a little bit about those features and benefits, which is what makes this thing special. We're going to do a demo of Engave Plus, kind of go over some of the exciting points of the program, things that make it very useful. It's a very simple program, but very productive. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about engraving markets, which is really important because engravers really haven't changed much, but the markets have. So really excited to introduce this to you. Out of the box, so the DE-3 is a complete engraving solution. This is kind of a list of what it includes. Obviously the DE-3 engraver, and there you can kind of see a picture of it. Just to kind of mention though, this for some of you that don't know, this is a brand new product. It was just released on January 30th. We're very proud of it and very excited about this particular product. Engave Plus software, which is an upgrade from Engrave. And they've actually added quite a few new little tidbits to this, again, to make it very productive and very precise. Metal and silicone nose cone. Now, this is a new feature, having that silicone nose cone, because in the past we had the metal, which was great, works fine. However, sometimes when you're dealing with acrylics or glass, and or even like your stainless steels and things of that nature, you know, metal, shiny stuff, it's going to maybe leave a ghost image or a scratch. So the silicone nose cone actually prevents that and is improved upon the engraving process. Comes also with the 3.175 solid collet, which is where the tool actually seats within the machine. And then you also get your character cutter or parallel cutter, dust collection adapter, which is basically a hose that sits on the nose cone, so that's going to take chips and things of that nature. So while you're engraving, it's going to kind of clean up and allow you know, that to get brushed away or sucked away. And then the laser pointer. Now this is actually part of the machine, but I did want to point that out because this is the precision and the precise. This is what makes this particular machine extremely precise, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit and just kind of go over why and how that works. MSRP on this is $64.95. It does come with our trouble-free 1-year warranty, which is more than adequate for these machines. Now, price-wise, this is kind of in the mid-range of engravers, so it's not the cheapest and it's not the most expensive. But we feel that that's a great price point for this, and again, we can be real profitable at that price. Now, let's talk about the accessories and tools. So this is kind of a list of what comes with it, and then also those optional accessories that you know, you may need or want. So the character cutter. Now the DE-3 actually can take 3 types of tools, actually I believe 4. And then there's all kinds of different tools within those categories. So you've got your character cutter, you've got your diamond scribe, and then you've got your end mill. And those all have different functions, and we can kind of, I briefly kind of give you, you know, for the diamond scribe, that's for just simply scratching the surface. The character cutter, that's for cutting into the material, and then the end mill is for, you know, extracting large amounts of material. So if you're doing, you know, acrylics or marbles or things like that, metals, it does do brass as well. Now the 3.175 collet, it does come with the tools for install, but then also those tools are what you'll kind of use to switch out the tool, the character cutter, diamond scribe, or end mills. We talked about the nose cone. We got the resin or metal, so it does come with both. It gives you the option of each, so which is kind of a nice feature, nice to have. And then Engave Plus, again, we're going to talk more about that, and when I do my demo on that, you'll see the ease of use and really some of the features that they've added into this that make it an exceptional software. You see the vacuum adapter. Now, as far as the optional accessories, the replacement spindle, we see the larger collet, that's for larger tools, which this will also accept. But the replacement spindle, now this is actually can be replaced by the end user, you. So you don't have to have a technician. If something goes wrong with that, you can actually take this out, replace it with little or no effort. It's very quick, very painless. And then we've got our center vise. So center vices are generally going to be used for holding pieces that are oddly shaped or that need to be held in, like a pen or a pendant or something to that effect. And then you see that we have our nose cone down there. Now the other option here for a lot of you people out there that want to do signs, specifically ADA Braille, we do have our optional ADA Braille solution for you. And that comes with all the accessories within itself to be able to do ADA signage. And again, Dr. Engave Plus is capable of doing that. Brief product overview for you. As you can see, it's not a big machine. It's relatively small. We like to say compact. It weighs about 75 pounds, and you can kind of see the measurements there. The bed size on it, or the table size, 9 by 12. That's a pretty good size for production. So depending on the size of the media that you're milling or the product that you're milling, you should be able to get a few on there, if not 10 to 20. If it's, say, a dog tag, you could probably fit 20 on there. Over to the right there, you're going to see that we've got our LAN USB port. So this is actually a new feature, or a feature that we think is a major improvement, because with the LAN, you can basically go into a network seamlessly. So there's a lot of people out there that are, say, industrial users, where it's back in a warehouse or back in the shop, and they don't want to be tethered to that machine. This will allow them to pretty much integrate it into their existing network. Or you can go with the USB port as well, which makes it pretty versatile. Down to the bottom right there, you see the laser pointer. Now that's what makes it precise. That allows for pinpoint accuracy. So if you, in the past, you kind of would line it up, drop the nose cone, and hope that you're kind of in position. A little bit of a guessing game on that, which allowed people to damage products and things like that. So if you're putting a product in here that costs you 20 bucks, you want precision. You want to be able to mill that or engrave that first time, get it right, and not have to worry about misalignment or misregistration. So great feature. The DE-3 handy panel, just give you a quick overview of that. Obviously here you can see the handy panel. Now this is separate from the machine, so it allows you to be a little bit more mobile with it. Now it is tethered by a cable, so you only get about 3 feet, but it's got all the controls you need to be able to run this machine, set it up, set your Z axis, set your X, your Y, and then it's also got all kinds of other functions in there that now we have videos, or we are putting together videos for all this. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, wow, this looks kind of complex, it's not. This is a simple machine. Within 20 minutes or so, you can have this thing out of the box and producing products for you. See our little rabbit button there, makes it a little faster. So let's talk a little bit about features and benefits for the DE-3. So we said simple out-of-the-box setup. What that means is that you don't need a technician to show up at your door to be able to set this thing up. And they basically drop it off, and maybe they do set it up depending on your dealer. But a lot of times you want to unpack that box and get this thing going and start producing with it. It's made simple so that you can just pop it out, take off some locks, and start producing. Again, we do have videos. The user guide will get you going, and again, within probably 20 minutes, you're good to go. A lot of people, they shy away from maybe engravers because they think, well, there's too many moving parts, or it just doesn't seem easy enough. I got to tell you, this thing is a easy machine to work. It's simple, and again, with Roland, we provide you with the videos and get you, from basics all the way up to more advanced techniques with this. So don't worry if you're thinking about bringing in an engraver, we got you covered. Compact design. So what makes this nice is that, you know, a lot of, and we'll talk kind of about the markets down in later in this webinar, but a lot of people are kind of moving to the engraver or the rotary engraver just because they're looking to add value to products. You know, you've got retail locations, say cosmetics or sunglasses or all kinds of different types of retail locations that are looking to personalize and customize. Now, personalization and customization is an ever-growing market, and we've seen it kind of growing over the last few years, if not just a couple years, because people are really looking to set themselves apart from their neighbor, the guy down the street that does the exact same thing. Not to, you know, mention that it adds value to an existing product. So if you have, you know, a pair of sunglasses that's $30, somebody comes in, they buy the sunglasses, they put their initials on it, it's now a $45 product. So there's where the profit comes in. There's where you can make this thing profitable. So depending on what you're doing, depending on what type of business you are, you know, it makes sense. So a lot of people are now, you know, home-based businesses or, you know, with Amazon and Etsy and all these, you know, web-based business solutions for you. It's easy. A lot of people have this in their garage. But then also that retail side of things. That's where we're really starting to see a major growth with this particular machine. No special skills required. Again, it's very simple to operate, very simple to run, very simple to set up. It's not really something that requires you to go to school or have knowledge of it. If you've never ran an engraver before, again, within about 15 to 20 minutes, you've got the basics down. You're able to engrave and mark products, and away you go. Now, cover safety sensors. So this is, you know, at Roland, we're really, you know, concerned about safety. We don't want people getting hurt with our products. Obviously, you know, say you're in an education environment, maybe a school or something to that effect. We don't want people sticking their hands in this thing while the knives are spinning and cutting. So essentially, this will not operate without the covers down. As far as materials and what this will engrave on, fairly standard, but you know, just to name a few, it'll engrave on brass, acrylics, glass, wood, all types of metals other than ferrous metals. So as long as there's no iron in it, and you know, most things fit within that scheme of things. So allows quick personalization of existing products. Again, this is that personalization, customization market that is just really fertile ground for profit. So if you're, you know, you're a any type of a store. I know they used to have like the Things Remembered, and there's still those types of stores out there, but we're seeing a huge growth in people that wouldn't generally personalize and customize in store. However, because of the ease of use, because of the fact that people need to add profit and add value to an existing product, we're seeing more and more of this go in. So if you've got a countertop, this thing will sit right up on it. The other thing is we've got a lot of people that, you know, they're kiosk based, or they go out to events, you know, craft shows, things of this nature. Because of its compact design, you can basically just pick it up, put it in your car, take it out. As long as you've got a laptop and some products, you're basically producing. And it's a great way to add money, add value, and profit. Easy ADA sign workflow. So a lot of our clients are sign shops. And sign shops, again, you know, they always have this, you know, they do wraps and they do signs and they do posters and such. But there's a lot of time in the day where people walk up to their front counter, they're ordering business cards, they're ordering a banner, where this fits right into that, you know, kind of in-between business. So you can just make extra money from this sitting up on your countertop. But as far as the ADA signs go, that's, you know, there's a lot of profit in those. And the workflow for that is very simple. Again, we provide that solution. We provide you with the tools. We provide you with the workflow documentation and things of that nature. So if you are looking at this, you are a sign shop and you're thinking, well, yeah, it'd be nice to do those ADA signs in-house. Yeah, take a look at the DE-3 for that. It's a very simple operation. And again, those signs are very profitable. Open source architecture. So this basically means that the DE-3 comes with Dr. Engave Plus, which is a great program. It's very simple, easy to run. However, there are people out there that, you know, they've been doing engraving for a while. Maybe they want something a little bit more complex. They want to have a little bit more fine-tunable control. This is open architecture, so you can use other programs with this machine. So not to worry. Now, Auto Z control for uniform cutting depth. So this is important when you have shapes that are, you know, kind of uneven or they're not quite flat. You want to kind of, especially if you have like a sacrificial piece underneath where you're engraving, you want that to be perfectly level, perfectly flat. But the Auto Z, if it's not, will actually follow the edges. So if you have, say, an object that rounds off at the edges or something to that effect, it'll actually follow the contour of the depth. So now you can do a manual Z. So if you are flat and you want to get in specific depths, things of that nature, you can actually set that up as well. But the Auto Z makes it, again, simple. You're not having to get in there and do mathematics and figure out how much depth and how much you're actually cutting out of your material. Super simple there. Laser pointer, again, this is what adds the precision. It's kind of tough for me to show you the laser pointer on this particular webinar, but basically you turn it on, you set your X, you set your Y point. Now the laser pointer is bidirectional. So what that means is if I set up a piece in Dr. Engave Plus, say a square, and I say I want to see where that is, I can tell Dr. Engave Plus, show me. The laser will actually draw out around that area so that I can make sure that my product is in the perfect position. But also if I draw out, if say I set my piece on the engraver and then I activate my laser pointer, I set my X, my Y, I can then tell the laser printer or the engraver to show me that space, and it'll actually draw that box in Dr. Engave Plus. So that's very useful. Again, to have that precision, to have that pinpoint accuracy, cuts down on a lot of waste, a lot of products being damaged. Again, you've got something in there that, you know, maybe it's $30, $40. You don't want to guess. You want to have the confidence that that is going to print the first time or engrave the first time correctly and not have that waste. Layer control. I'm going to show you that a little bit in Dr. Engave Plus. Show you kind of how you can set up different layers, and what that means is basically you have independent layer control. So I can actually set up different tools, different depths for my tool, and just different characteristics of that particular layer. So maybe on one layer I have a template, on the next layer, you know, I have a diamond scribe, the next layer, say for instance a name tag where I want to scribe a name in, but then I want to also cut out the name tag. We can do that with the independent layer control. All right, Dr. Engave Plus. So some of the features that make this very useful, very productive is the template creation. I'm going to go through that here in just a second, show you how you can create a template. So a lot of times when you're doing, you know, say in industrial, or you want to be productive with this, you don't want to just do one item at a time. Now, it's fine to do one item at a time, but you also have the option to be able to do multiples. So if you want to create a template, say have a fixture where you can just you know, put things in, engrave them, pop those out, drop in the next batch into that fixture, and then go ahead and engrave. It has that ability to create that, and it's very simple to do, and I'll show you. AI and EPS import. So a lot of us work in Illustrator or CorelDRAW. We want to be able to import our native files into Dr. Engave Plus. And it has that ability. Now it will also take a JPEG or a GIF, and it does have a retrace. So it will trace that object, and it does a very good job of it. But again, some of us don't want to have to do that. We want to be able to design something, say we're doing a plaque or, you know, what have you. Do it in Illustrator, import that, or even, you know, line art graphics. So it makes it very simple. Now it does have to be Illustrator 8 or below if you're doing AI, but that's fine. That's just a legacy save. Laser tracing, again, we talked about the laser tracing, and what that means is basically if I call out a space on the engraver, it'll actually show me on my machine or on my Dr. Engave Plus, but also let's say I did a star on there and I want to see if I'm in perfect position for that. I can tell the Dr. Engave to show me. It'll actually take the laser and draw it out on the actual object on the engraver bed. Variable data, now this is huge. So essentially what this is say we set up our template, say we're doing barcodes, or we're doing numbering for industrial, or names for name tags, and we don't want to have to sit there and type out each name in Dr. Engave. We can basically set up an Excel file. It's CSV, we import it, and it drops it right in. Again, I'm going to show that to you. Bezier curves, so this allows you to pretty much draw in Dr. Engave and create curves and contours. Very simple, and this is actually a new feature. And then independent layers. We kind of talked about those independent layers, and this is just kind of a sample of setting up some different layers. And again, we have the ability to set up independent layers, so independent specs per layer. So if I want a different tool, or I want a different depth, or things of that nature, which is pretty important when you're doing engraving. So let's go ahead and take a peek here at Dr. Engave. First thing I want to show you is let's go ahead and take a look at how we import templates. Now I've actually created a template, so I'm just going to drop that one in. Now if you see here it says create new document or template. If I set up a file on this, say I want a 2 by 2 inch name tag, or a 1 inch by 2 inch, I can set up that file, put all my little boxes in. Over here I've got my type box, so I can actually drop in a type box for variable data or what have you. But I've already created this template, as you can see, and creating a template is as simple as setting up the file here. I'm going to go ahead and call out nameplate, create plates with existing. I'm going to use the entire bed. I'm going to say OK. Now it gives me the option here of how many do I want. I'm going to say 9 of them, and then I'm going to set the space in between at 1.25, 1.25, or I could put in any number. I could put them an inch apart, whatever I want, and boom, it drops our template. So these are pre-created templates. Now, as you can see, I'm ready to go. So if I had a fixture on here, maybe I've already got a fixture that's cut out where I could be dropping these things into position. And I'm ready to go. Now it's going to engrave certain elements and then not others. So the text box here, it's not going to actually engrave that. What that's doing is giving us an indication of where we can place our variable data. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to import text. And I've already got some names kind of set up in the interest of time. We are comma separated. I say next. So I'm going to grab, I've got different options here, but I'm going to grab this number here. It drops it. I hit next, and then let's say I want all of these to drop in. I say finish, and boom, it drops them in position, and you're ready to start engraving that file. So as you can see, very, very simple. Now the only thing I didn't necessarily show you was creating a template, but that's as simple as this. I mean, I can basically go in here and type, create my template there. If I want to use variable data, I'm going to use my text box. So in here is where my variable data is going to go. If I want to change my text a little bit, I can come over here and maybe I want to put this on a little bit of a curve. And I can take some of that curve out if I want. But as you can see, it's very simple. Now if I save this off, I can save it as a template, but I'm not going to. There's no need for that. As you can see in my layer, I've got different shapes, so I can independently control those shapes within my layer. If I want to add another layer, it's as simple as dropping in another layer. If I want multiple layers, there we go. Now I can go in and I can actually independently control these layers. If I want to go in, change the engraving parameters, I can change the tool, I can change the material. Now normally you would stick with the same material, but you might change out the tools. You might, you know, obviously you can change out that depth. If you go back here, you can see the different characteristics that we can actually change, or the settings. We can change speeds, Z speed, height, spindle speed, cutting in amount. So that would be the different depths. And then tool up height. So if we're set up on automatic, this is basically going to be how high that raises up. So if I'm cutting in 2 millimeters, then I'm going to obviously want to be raising that up above and beyond the 2 millimeters so it doesn't go through and start scratching. Some of the other neat features here is now we can actually do surfacing. So we talked about being able to even out or level out our material prior to cutting or engraving. Makes it very simple. You set up your parameters, whatever that may be, probably using a character cutter, so you want to dig as much material out as possible, so I would utilize that. And that, let's see. So we do have control over our shapes a little bit. We can skew them, we can slant them, we can twist them. So you do have some ability to be able to kind of design here. But a lot of people, again, prefer to be able to do that in Illustrator and drop it in. Now, if you're sitting at a front counter, you want somebody to be able to walk up, type in their name, and hit engrave. You probably are going to do it right here in Dr. Engrave. You don't necessarily, Dr. Engrave Plus, excuse me. You probably don't want to have them working in Illustrator, dropping in graphics, all that good stuff. Let's see. So, drilling feature. So now there's two different types of things that we would use the drilling feature for. One would be if you're doing a double-sided engrave. A lot of times people engrave like acrylic. They'll do double-sided to give kind of neat effects or things of that nature. Or if you want to create some sort of an engraved 3D product, which is possible here as well. The other thing is for doing your braille. You would set it up in the drill function. Now we talked about having the draw rectangular. So basically this will actually, I can retrace if I want. I can come over here and say, you know, show me my preview. If I click that, it's actually going to draw over the top of it. I also have independent settings where I can set up the engraver. So as you can see, Dr. Engave Plus is super simple to run, super simple to operate. But again, if you want to get a little bit more creative, a little bit more control, kind of pinpoint, you know, some of those features that you can do with engraving. There's all kinds of different types of engraving. So some people prefer other software, which again, because it's open architecture, you can certainly do that. And that's pretty much Dr. Engrave. So if you have more questions about that, now I'm going to be doing some different videos again so that you're not going to be, you know, guessing at how you do things. So look to our Roland Academy here over the next month or so, and we'll be putting those up. But we'll walk through doing an ADA sign, setting up ADA Braille and creating that. Different types of engraving, whether that be a diamond scribe or using the character cutter. So just look for that here shortly. So let's talk a little bit about the market. So I do have some samples up here that I want to quickly show you. And we talked about adding value to a product. So this would be a great example of adding value to a product. So this is a little flask. I know you all have one. But essentially, this is a diamond scribe. And we did talk about, you know, the floating Z and having that uneven surface. So I don't know if you can really see that, but it's got a little bit of a concave here so that essentially when that tool rides along this, it's going to go up and down with the product itself. Obviously, as it gets off to the side, it's going to drop completely off. But as you can see, that adds value. So here we have maybe a $20 flask. You put somebody's initials on it and their family crest. I think that's what that is. It's now a $35, $40 flask. So that's where we add the value. That's where this thing is profitable. And that's where the market is growing and moving to. So that's a nice one. So here's, kind of common, award type companies have been using these engravers for years and years and years. But again, the engraver is moving outside of that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that laser engravers have kind of made people a little bit more aware of the engraving process and the profits that they can see with that. So, but the nice thing about this is versus a laser engraver, because some might say, well, why not a laser engraver? The rotary engraver doesn't change the surface structure. It also allows, depth of cutting. You don't just cut through it or scribe it or scratch it. It actually will do different depths. It also doesn't change the surface color. So say when you're doing wood, a laser engraver essentially is burning the product, right? So you get black. You get a nice black outline. Whereas with the rotary engraver, it doesn't change the surface color. You can do a lot more with the rotary engraver than you can with the laser engraver. Maybe personal opinion, but I don't think so. Also with that character cutter, you're able to dig out more material at one time, so it's faster in some respects as well. We're also seeing a lot of people doing multiple type printing. So, our LEFs, which are really the personalization, customization masters, this was actually printed on a UV print, and then we went back and engraved over the top. So you can see that's pretty unique. You can't get that with just anything. So using multiple machines is kind of something that's starting to happen more and more now, and we're seeing that people that have bought our LEF UV printers are buying these so that they can do different looks, kind of set themselves apart from the next guy again. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit more about those markets. So the DE-3 fits a wide variety of clientele and applications. So ultimately, looking at this list here up on top, so I won't get into the entire list here, but you can see that there's quite a few different things. Now, each one of these types of markets have sub-markets. So I think ultimately the profits and the potential there are endless. You're really just kind of limited by your imagination and what you can come up with this particular product. If you look down there in the bottom right, this would be kind of an example of a retail type location where people, they're adding value to existing products, kind of like a Things Remembered. But again, we're breaking outside that chain. We're no longer just a Things Remembered. You could be a cosmetic store. You could be sunglasses. You could be a dollar store. Anything and everything is possible. Cannabis, vapes, those we're seeing a lot of interest in that market just because, again, there's so many different things that can be customized and personalized within that market. So basically some of those markets, again, we've got retail, home-based, kind of the Fab Lab type of thing, B2C, which is your business, direct from business to client. They really have, as far as logistically speaking, Amazon stores and eBay stores have really, with FedEx and UPS, they've really made it simple for you to, have a home-based business, have something like this that you can actually produce at home, have a website, people buy things, and then you ship it out the next day, and or being able to move this, take this to events is huge. Now, let's not forget the industrial or manufacturing market where this is huge. This, for marking products, for marking metal, for marking different things and creating graphics, we're seeing a lot of this, and with the implementation of that LAN or the Ethernet, being able to have a bank of these, like 5 or 6 or more, and being able to really produce large amounts is definitely feasible and realistic now. So again, I would just like to say that the markets are endless, and really, if you're looking for something to do, maybe add value to what you're already doing, or just more to your offerings, what you're already offering. I would take a look at the engraving market. It's growing. Because again, the engravers haven't changed, the market has. So take a look into it, and I think it's very viable. So hopefully from what you've seen today, you can see that it's easy to set up and run. As far as the actual running of it, we didn't get to do that today, and I do apologize, but it does make some noise, and it'd be kind of hard to talk over it. I will be doing other webinars where we're going to actually just do a specific type product. Low price, high profits. As you can see from the multitude of possibilities, the profits are there. The profits can be there for you. So, it's just a matter of, you implementing that into your existing workflow or coming up with something new and exciting. Add value to existing products. We talked about that added value, and that's where we're starting to see a huge growth in retail and companies that are looking to expand on their profits. For those of you that are doing banners and vehicle wraps, and you want to fill in and add to your profit, this can allow you to access new markets. I mean, how many times you got that phone call from one of your large clients, and they say, "Oh, can you do an award for us?" You're like, "No, can't do it." So then they call the guy down the street who also does wraps and banners, and guess what? You're now in competition with some guy down the street who just lowballed you on a vehicle wrap because you don't have this in-house to be able to do it. So not to say that it always happens, but it has happened to me many times. Increase sales to existing customers. Again, some of those customers that you want to be able to kind of give them a full range of products, helpful. Roland handles service and support. You can always rely on Roland to back their products and to provide you with that service, but also the support, the videos that I'm talking about, the workflow guides, things of that nature that are going to help you get through your day and make this precise, productive, and profitable. We're there for you. Again, trouble-free warranty. And always look to our Roland Academy. If you go to rolanddga.com, we've got tons of webinars, we've got tons of videos, everything you need. And if it's something that's not there, you can always email us. And if we feel like that's something that needs to be there, we will get you a video. If not, we will definitely give you a call, reach out, and try to help you the best we can. All right. So I think that's all of our questions. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I hope you are excited about the DE-3 as I am, because I am. I'm pumped about it. It's a great little machine, and give your dealer a call and maybe get a demo of this in real life, or go to our website, rolanddga.com, get more information. Again, Roland Academy for all your solutions and videos. Thank you.